You are building a dataset from a JSON file that contains an array of documents. You need to import attributes as columns from all the documents in the JSON file. The solution must ensure that data attributes can be used as data hierarchies in Microsoft Power BI reports. Which three actions should you perform in sequence? A. Expand the columns. B. Expand the records. C. Add columns that use data type conversations. D. Set the data types. E. Convert the list to a table. You should perform E. Convert the list to a table, A. Expand columns, D. Set the data types. You are creating a Microsoft Power BI model that has two tables named City Data and Sales. City Data, State, City, Population Sales, State, Type, Sales. City, data and sales are related using a many-to-many relationship based upon the state column in each table. Is following statement true? In the sales table, you can write a DAX expression that uses the related function to get data from the city data table. A. Yes. B. No. B. No, the statement is false. You are creating a Microsoft Power BI model that has two tables named City Data and Sales. City Data, State, City, Population Sales, State, Type, Sales. City, data and sales are related using a many-to-many relationship based upon the state column in each table. Is the following statement true? A DAX expression of sales total equals calculate, sum, sales, all sales, will produce the correct total sales value for each state, based on the data model. A. Yes. B. No. A. Yes, the statement is true. You have a query that returns the data shown in the first table exhibit. You need to configure the query to display the data shown in the second table exhibit. Which step should you use in the query? Option D is the right answer. Table.expand list column table.transform column source classes splitter.split text by delimiter quote style.none let item type equals type nullable text meta serialized.text equals true in type item type classes. You have a sales system that contains the tables shown in the following table: sales, sales underscore ID, sales underscore date, sales underscore amount date, date ID, month, week, year. The date table is marked as a date table. Date ID is the date data type. You need to create an annual sales growth percentage measure. Which DAX expression should you use? The correct DAX expression is B. Sum, sales as sales underscore amount, calculate sum sales as sales underscore amount, sum a period last year date date ID calculate sum sales as sales underscore amount, sum a period last year date date ID. In Power BI Desktop, you are building a sales report that contains two tables. Both tables have row-level security, RLS, configured. You need to create a relationship between the tables. The solution must ensure that bidirectional cross-filtering honors the RLS settings. What should you do? A. Create an active relationship between the tables and select Assume Referential Integrity. B. Create an inactive relationship between the tables and select Assume Referential Integrity. C. Create an inactive relationship between the tables and select Apply Security Filter in both directions. D. Create an active relationship between the tables and select Apply Security Filter in both directions. Correct answer, D. By default, row-level security filtering uses single-directional filters, whether the relationships are set to single direction or bidirectional. You can manually enable bidirectional cross-filtering with row-level security by selecting the relationship and checking the Apply Security Filter in both directions checkbox. Select this option when you've also implemented dynamic row-level security at the server level, where row-level security is based on username or login ID. You have a Power BI dataset that contains a table named Temperature Readings. Temperature Readings contains the columns shown in the able table. The table has 12 million rows. All the columns are needed for analysis. You need to optimize the dataset to decrease the model size. The solution must not affect the precision of the data. What should you do? I split the date-time column into separate date and time columns. B. Change the data type of the date-time column to date. C. Change the data type of the latitude column to fixed decimal. D. Disable the Power Query load. You should A. Split the date-time column into separate date and time columns. You have a clustered bar chart that contains a measure named salary as the value and a field named employee as the axis. Salary is present in the data as a numerical amount representing US dollars. You need to create reference line to show which employees are above the median salary. Solution: you create an average line by using the salary measure. Does this meet the goal? A. Yes. B. No. B. Instead, create a percentile line by using the salary measure and set the percentile to 50%. You have Microsoft SharePoint online site that contains several document libraries. One of the document libraries contains manufacturing reports saved as Microsoft Excel files. All the manufacturing reports have the same data structure. You need to use Power BI Desktop to load only the manufacturing reports to a table for analysis. What should you do? A. Get data from a SharePoint folder, enter the site URL, and then select Combine and Load. B. Get data from a SharePoint list and enter the site URL. Select Combine and Transform, then filter by the folder path to the manufacturing reports library. C. Get data from a SharePoint folder and enter the site URL. Select Combine and Transform, then filter by the folder path to the manufacturing reports library. D. Get data from a SharePoint list, enter the site URL, and then select Combine and Load. The option C is correct. Get data from a SharePoint folder and enter the site URL. Select Combine and Transform, then filter by the folder path to the manufacturing reports library. You have a table that contains sales data and approximately 1000 rows. You need to identify outliers in the table. Which type of visualization should you use? A. Donut chart. B. Pie chart. C. Area chart. D. Scatter plot. You should use D. Scatter plot.